Hello everyone, hope all of you are doing good. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another interesting video. In our last video on our channel, I'd given you a simple data set, right? Some marketing data. So this was the Google Sheet I think I shared on that video where you have the month, the year, the source, right? From where they are advertising and the medium and obviously the category. So I think I asked you to assume it was an online furniture selling company. They have different categories of products they are selling, and some marketing data like the clicks they were getting, how many impressions they were getting, how much money they were spending, right? The cost of marketing, how many orders they were getting, and eventually how much money they were making, right? Revenue. I asked you to explore and see, right? Like come up with analysis or like frameworks, or how would you proceed given such a data as it could be a real life scenario. So today I'm going to not go too much in detail, but I'm going to use BigQuery. As you see, I've already uploaded the data set here. If you want to know how to upload data to BigQuery, I'm attaching a link in our description. See that and attach it to your Google BigQuery. It's quite straightforward and it's free as well. So try that out. And so now I have the data here. I'm just going to give you like a simple frameworks, like what KPIs you could look at and then analyze and also see, how the data looks, what columns to look at and things like that, right? At a very, very simple level. So first of all, like we have like this, stuff like clicks, impressions, cost, orders and revenue, right? So one interesting KPI that I would obviously want to look at in general when I get kickstarted is called CTR. It's called click-through rate. So what is click-through rate is nothing but your total clicks, the total clicks you got on an ad divided by the total impressions, right? Like the number of times your ad got shown or something like that. So I want to do this, right? Like I want to find this ratio and probably compare it, let's say by month and by source, how we are doing, right? So I'm going to go here and just start with, let's say month, right? This is for click-through rate. So I'm going to say sum of clicks, right? Divided by sum of impressions, right? Since I'm aggregating them, I'm using sum, right? And I can call this as the click-through rate, right? As CTR. I think this should work. And obviously you have to group by month, right? So group by month, and then I want to, let's say, order by this click-through rate and see a descending order, right? So I can write a simple query like this. Right, I want to observe the click-through rate by month, like, something has happened. As you see, the third month, right, which is March, had like about 0.7% click-through rate. Feb was 0.61, Jan was 0.53. So in general, it's below 1%, right? And then there's a small trend, right? It looks like March is slightly higher, right? Now the same way, instead of by month, if I want to see by source, right? Like, I'll just run this query and I will just say group by source, right? You could also have a look at it. And then you see click-through rate, it looks like, I think Bing is doing quite fine, right? 2.76%. Google is doing quite fine, close to 2% click-through rate. Instagram and Facebook, as you see, is like 0.1%, right? Very, very low, right? Now you need to think what could be the reason, right? Bing and Google are search engines. So if you go and search for something, only then you see an ad, right? You might search for a chair, you might search for a sofa or something, you see an ad. So already you're showing some interest in something related to the product. So there's definitely a higher chance you'll click through it, right? Like that's probably why the click-through rate is high for search engines. Whereas on Instagram or Facebook, our main intention is to just scroll, go for entertainment, see what others are doing, look at posts, look at reels. And in that, if you get an ad in between, the chances of you clicking on it may not be as good, right? Like that's why I think maybe here the data shows it's very low click-through rate, right? This is how you could bring in inference at a very simple level, right? This is with respect to source. You might think, what if we could also do it with respect to medium, right? I mean, I think I need to change it here. So I can do group by medium. But now if you see, there is just two mediums in the given data, right? There is CPC and there is paid. And funnily, CPC is also paid, right? Like, so for Google and I think Bing, they call it CPC, but it's also paid ads. So everything is paid, right? So you can say, okay, CPC has higher click-through rate than paid, but this is exactly what we saw when we said search engines like Google and Bing had higher CTR than a Facebook or Instagram platform. So it doesn't really give any new insight, and CPC and paid is pretty much paid, right? So yeah, analyzing grouping by medium doesn't make much sense. You can play around, but here it doesn't add any extra or incremental value. In some cases, if you add some organic data, right, then organic versus paid comparison could be done. Okay. Now I'm going to just go by category to see if there is a pattern, like we have charts, tables, and all that stuff, right? Different products. And it looks like, lamps, carpet, sofas are the highest, and then chairs, curtains have like really low click-through rate, like 0.4% or something, right? Again, within products, there is a trend. Some products have higher click-through rate, maybe more people are interested in it, maybe your ad is more appealing, whatever that is, right? So this is what you would do with, let's say, click-through rate, right? This is the first thing. So keep in mind, sometimes not all columns need to be grouped by an analyst, only some need to be done because it needs to make some sort of sense, right? You shouldn't just keep on writing queries. Then the next metric interesting to look at, it's called as CPC. What is CPC? Is nothing but it's called cost per click, right? So the total marketing cost you spend divided by the number of clicks you get, right? So like it's important to have it under control. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change it here. Sum of cost, right? Total cost divided by the total clicks, right? So I'm just going to flip it around like this and just say CPC, right? Cost per click. And I want to order by CPC descending. And let's start with category. Let's see if there is a pattern. Okay, curtains seem to cost like 1.49, and it looks like everything costs more than whatever currency this is. Let's say it's dollars, more than $1 for sure, but curtains and sofas and even lamps are costing more than $1.3, right? To get one particular click, you need to spend at least $1.3, $1.4 for some categories, right? So you need to be mindful because in the end, then people need to buy those products, right? So try to, keep the cost in control or something. And same way we can look at like by source, if there's a pattern, right? Like if, our Google Bing, again, search engine versus non-search engine like Facebook, Insta. And as you see clearly, in Bing and Google, obviously people come with an intention. So you need to spend money to get clicks as well, right? So it's more than $1, whereas Instagram is just over $1 and Facebook is under $1, right? So you don't need to spend as much money to get clicks, but maybe you will not convert, right? As we saw, click-through rate was going to be bad in Facebook, Insta. Not many people are going to click on it, but at least cost per click won't be as high in Instagram or Facebook. So that is about CPC, cost per click. Then moving on, we can also look at ROAS, return on ad spend. What is this? This is nothing but the total money you make, right? Total return or revenue you make divided by the total money you spend, right? The marketing cost total. So let's have a look at ROAS. So I'm just going to say cost, and I want to do like total revenue, right? So sum of revenue, right? This is called as return on ad spend. Remember, this might be helpful in a marketing related interview, right? And I'm going to just change it to ROAS just to have a look. By source, and again, it looks like Insta and Facebook are giving good returns, right? Like although click-through rate is bad, right? You need like to push more to get clicks from the audience. Once someone clicks and goes, I think somehow you're making more money. They're purchasing, converting. It's quite good. Bing is fine, but Google is pretty bad. Like the revenue you make versus the cost you spend doesn't make much sense, right? So you need to look at optimizing the performance. Why is that the case? And so on, right? You could also do a further deep dive, like within a particular source. Let's say within Google, what is doing well, what is doing bad, something like that, right? So for example, I would just say category, right? And then say where source is equal to, let's say Google, something like this, right? And I will say group by category. So now I want to see the different categories inside Google, how they're doing, right? Like the ROAS. And as you see, Google was quite bad in that. Also, if you see, sofa is okay, curtain is okay, but lamps and tables are really bad. Like, so it's like just around 1. So like whatever money you spend is what you make, right? You don't make a big, extra chunk of money or anything. Then you can go and see your lamps and tables campaigns in Google, why they are not doing as good, why the ROAS is bad, right? This is how you could do further deep dive analysis, right? Then moving on, there's also this concept called CPO, right? Cost per order, how much cost you need to spend to get a particular order. It's your total cost divided by your total orders. So you can also do that and play around and see, right? So sum of cost by sum of order. And let's say I want to group by category, and I don't want to just see for Google in general. I want to see, I mean, this is CPO, right? Let me change the name, order by CPO descending, right? Okay. And I think it's called orders, not order. So let me run this. So which category? So like, yeah, it looks like for lamps, you need to spend a lot of money to get an order, whereas for a carpet, not as much, right? It's just $23 you need to spend to get one particular order, right? And same way, let's see by source, if you know how easy or difficult is the acquisition, and I group by source, and then we can see, right? And it looks like, again, it's easier. I mean, although if you remember, we were not making as much money. Google, you need to spend a lot of money here, right? Almost $50 to acquire, but Insta and Facebook are doing good here. Again, you don't need to spend as much money to generate an order, right? Then finally, going on to AOV, average order value. What is that? It's the total money you make, revenue by the total orders, right? This will give you an idea per order how much money can you make, right? In an order, can you make $50, $100, $200, and so on, right? For example, if I go here, particular, like for example, lamp, you're making one order, you're receiving one order and you're making 89 euros. So the cost of that lamp is 89 euros, right? So on average, you're making like 89 euro per order. So let's do it at an overall level. So the total revenue generated by the total orders, right? And I call this AOV, or average order value. And I'm going to just order by that column, descending. So let's first of all look by a source. So yeah, average order value, it's very, very close, right? So like source doesn't have an impact, right? Like in general, it's morely dependent on the price of the product and stuff. So as you see, it's between 185, 190, like doesn't make big difference. But by category, there could be a difference, because a chair might cost like less, something else like a sofa might cost more. So I expect some difference. Let's see. And as you see, right, like average order value. So it looks like sofas, it's like about 380, right? Like sofas cost about 380, carpet cost about 190, and so on, right? Lamp, I think on average cost 89, right? This is the price. So on average, this is what you'll make, right? If I do the same thing by month, we can also see some trend, like, okay, there was a particular month where we had a peak in the average order value, right? And then go back and analyze. So like it's very, very similar. So in this data, it seems uniform, not big patterns, but at least to understand, okay, on average, you can make like $190 per order, right? This is what we get. Then you need to budget your money accordingly and promote your campaigns properly, right? So essentially, this is the other KPI. So yeah, these are the main KPIs in marketing. And I mean, whatever we did, all these formulas, you could do it in Python, you could create calculated field in Looker Studio, or simply pull a pivot table with calculated fields in Google Sheets or Excel. Doesn't matter, but it's about coming up with insights, identifying like columns like medium here don't matter as much, zooming in by category in some metrics, by month in some metrics, going by source makes sense. Then further deep dive, let's say Google, in that what category is doing good, right? You could do all this. As you see, we didn't leverage a lot of advanced SQL stuff, primarily group by, sum, and that's it, order by, right? But even with this, you could make powerful impact. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll share this link of the dataset, and also I'll share, as I said, the video link in the description on how to upload data to BigQuery to get started. I hope you enjoyed the video. Share this with your friends. I'll see you again in another video. Till then, take care.